Negative numbers. Let's look at where we use negative numbers nowadays. Negative numbers are used, and I often use the example of temperature. In Australia, we don't have a big issue because we don't really go into the negatives where we live, but certainly in some areas in Australia, we look at negative numbers. The first example we're going to look at is temperature. In Australia, this is not a big issue because there's only a few places that goes into the negative, but temperature is an easy way to think of where we use negative numbers, and that is when we go below freezing point or below 0 degrees Celsius. We can also have direction vertical. For example, we can say the vertical distance under sea level is a negative and above sea level is positive. We can also talk about horizontal distance. Negative numbers can also be used to show vertical height or vertical difference. For example, when we look at sea level, and sea level is at 0 meters, above sea level we go to the positives, and if we go below sea level we go into the negatives. So just to distinguish between those values. Negative numbers can also be used to distinguish between direction, for example, clockwise or anti-clockwise, and it's not only around the Earth, that is in graphs where there's movement around the axis, etc., etc. We can also distinguish using negative numbers in horizontal distance or direction. So in athletics, you all have seen where we have wind speed, especially where they do sprints and jumps, and they say the wind speed is negative 1.8, which shows that the wind is in the opposite direction, so negative, working against the athletes. If it's a positive, it means the wind is working with them, and it means they are running with the wind. Another very practical use is in the financial world, where we work with profits and loss. So we work with money that doesn't really have direction. However, if we gain money, it's a profit, it's a plus. If we lose money, it goes out of our pockets, so then we indicate it with a negative sign, or we say a minus. So we can clearly see that negative numbers, therefore, are all numbers less than 0. Now, they can either be fractions, or they can be integers or whole numbers. We're only going to look at integers at this stage. Later, we will look at fractions as well. So the integers are 0 to infinity going in the positive direction, 0 to negative infinity going into the negative direction. These includes the positive integers. So positive integers or your natural numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0 is not seen as a natural number. And then we also have the negative integers. We can always use a number line, and I know sometimes you can use a number ladder that is going vertical to do these calculations, and I'm going to show you how to do it now. When adding or subtracting a positive integer, you can either have a positive or a negative number. There's no rule saying that it must be positive or must be negative. So let's have a look. At the start, I would like you to do it this way. If I look at the first example, that is over here, they say 2 plus 3. Now we all know that. What we'll do is we'll start with the first value, so I'll go to 2, and I'm going to say add 3. So then it says plus 3, so I'm going to add 3. 1, 2, 3. This is the positive direction. That is the negative direction. So 2 plus 3 is 5, and that's where I get my answer from. In the second example, I say negative 4 plus 3. So I'm at negative 4, I start at negative 4, and if I add 3, I'm going to go into the positive direction, 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, which will take me then to negative 1. When I am subtracting positive integers, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to start at 1, take away 3, I'm starting at 1, and I'm going to go negative 3. So negative is in this direction, which means I'm going to go minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and it will take me to my answer of negative 2. When I subtract the positive number from 5, so if I'm at 5 and I take away 3, negative 3 going in this direction, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, so from 5 I will go to 2. The other way that I'd like, if you don't use a number line, is to think about the question. So let's, for example, say it is negative 4 plus 3 equals negative 1. Think of temperature if that helps you. If the temperature is negative 4 and it goes up by 3, I'm going to go closer to 0, which means I'm going to go to negative 1. If the temperature is at 1 degrees and it drops with 3 degrees, it will go down to negative 2 degrees. So instead of the number line, you can also think of it logically.